Today I shall talk on a very important item called debt. It has actually become a four-letter word, negatively or positively. In business, if you need money, there are only two sources, equity and debt. Equity comes from the owners, debt comes from the lenders. All said, debt is always an easier way to fund business. You would not believe the greatest financial disaster which has taken place in the recent times, which is the 2008 financial crisis, was a result of debt, poor debt management. You may have heard that the US bankers gave people loans against subprime mortgages, which were later on sold to various investors across the globe. When the borrowers were not able to pay, incidentally, the bankers knew the borrowers may not be able to pay. When the borrowers were not able to pay, the investors had papers with them which were worth toilet papers. The financial crisis of 2008 was the result of subprime borrowers not being able to pay the bankers for the loans they took. In the recent times, the Indian economy is going through a similar crisis. You would have heard the word NPA, or non-performing assets. The Indian banking system have lent lakhs of crores of rupees to corporates and businesses, to people like you and me, and they have found that many of it are not recoverable. To give you two statistics, the Indian banking systems today have a total lending of 85 lakh crore, of which you will be surprised to know almost 15 lakh crore is not recoverable, which means almost 18% of the total lending of the banking system may not even come back ever. And if it is true, then there is a serious problem. You all know that when a banker lends, it has 10% of its own money, which is called capital, and 90% of your own money, which is their borrowing. This two money, that is their own capital and the borrowed money, is what they lend to the businesses. Now, if 18% doesn't come back, and if only 10% is their capital, which means 8% of their borrowings from you and me may not be repayable ever. Be as it may, we always want to think, why is it so? Why is this crisis? Think of companies like SR, JP, GVK Group, GMR Group, Adani's in India, big names. They've all been saddled by debts. They have taken debts thinking that they would grow big, but they are not able to repay them on time, not able to fund them on time. The reason perhaps is their overambition of growth. For instance, SR wanted to become the biggest business conglomerate in India. Took debt, but got stuck. Suzlon wanted to become the biggest renewable energy company in India, if not in the world. Took debt, borrowed money, made acquisitions internationally, they got stuck. Therefore, optimism made them rue the roost. So what is it the businessman should do? If I may say, there are four issues which need to be tackled. One, optimism is good, but over-optimism is not good. It is nice to know, it's nice to think that everything will become okay tomorrow. But if the cash flows are not good enough, if your business is suffering, it is better to be careful. Do not borrow unless you're absolutely sure that you are able to repay the interest liabilities as well as the principal installment liabilities which you have in hand. If that doesn't happen, things would come to a pass. Next point which we need to talk about is debt. Either if you take debt with a longer repayment schedule, or equity is the answer. Easy money, which is debt, is not the answer for growth all the time. Think of the successful companies today, Amazon and Flipkart, billions of dollars of valuation. How are they making money in spite of all the losses they are making? Their valuations are through the roof. They are funding themselves through equity. The third point to know is foreign exchange. Many of the businesses have borrowed internationally, thinking international money is cheaper, it's less expensive, interest rates are low. But what happens? The rupee dollar goes the other way. If the company has exports or their foreign currency, foreign exchange earnings are equivalent to the foreign exchange expenditure, they are hedged automatically. Should it not happen, it is a dangerous game to play on future foreign exchange valuations or foreign exchange ratio rules. The fourth one, which is very important, is that covenants. Most banks, when they lend, they have covenants set. It is important to know what is that covenant. Usually the covenant is a debt to profitability ratio, and there can be other covenants also. If the covenants are broken, the banks really get onto your head. Therefore, be careful. Debt is easy money, but it could become a difficult money to fund. In short, debt is like electricity, and it's like current. As long as the electricity and the current is good, it can charge you well. But if it acts against you, it can bring a very bad shock. Thank you.